Hello, everyone. This is Group 5. Victor, Hans, and myself will be presenting. Larry regrettably couldn't make it today, so we'll also be pinching in for him. As to the first question, our classical customer journey of a patient during a doctor's visit, well, in a nutshell, and I think we heard it plenty of times, we believe it's fair to say that it's quite a miserable experience. And not only for the fact that you are already sick to begin with, the whole process is just a big burden where you have to go through all these steps, like booking the appointment, going to the doctor's office, waiting in the waiting room because they always run late anyway. You get examined by the doctor, you receive your prescription, then you go to the desk where you have to pay, you drag yourself over to the pharmacy, again you have to do the hand in the doctor's note, make the payment, then you go home and you have to already go through the whole ordeal again by scheduling a new appointment. And so, I mean, in basic conclusion, we are not happy, and hence the sad face. But fear not, because now we have Ping An, and Ping An will turn our frown upside down. So basically what we want to do is all these touch points that we saw in the classical journey, well, at least as many as possible, we want to digitize, simplify, and centralize. And the heart of the whole thing will be this Ping An Good Doctor application on your mobile phone. And it starts with the very beginning on the app, which is available 24/7 and allows us to have a pre-treatment consultation with a dedicated family doctor. You get patient assistance with your appointment at an offline outpatient clinic in the location closest to you. And upon arriving at the hospital, you will be met by your very own medical butler. Also, when it comes to post-treatment follow-up, patients can access the Ping An Good Doctor app to contact the doctor for follow-ups. And to top all that off, your prescription drugs can be purchased on the platform and delivered right at your doorstep. So being sick has never been easier. And then we go to Victor.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. So now we'll proceed to discuss the customer touch points and the lock-in effects. And later I will give a floor to Ivan to continue to discuss how these touch points and especially lock-in effects can be exclusified or protected with different forms of IP. So having analyzed this case, we found basically 5 main touch points. But having heard the other presentations, I understand that we missed some of them. So some of the touch points are shown with red signs with the logo of Ping An, and they are purely digital. Other ones are not. So let's consider all of them step by step. So first is meeting with the family doctor on the platform, when the client meets the family doctor on the platform during pre-treatment consultation step. And this provides preliminary diagnostics and finding a fitting doctor. So the next step is not digital, but also very important touch points is then the client comes to the hospital actually, and it's met by on-site personal advisor during the appointment, and this personal advisor escorts the patients to at the hospital, shows the rooms, and takes over the formalities, paperwork, etc., etc. So then the most important one is then the client meets the doctor who arrives at the diagnosis, certain diagnosis, and prescribes certain treatment. Next is again purely digital. It's a post-treatment online consultation with the fitting medical doctors, and it's possible to do different follow-up checks and receive additional recommendations from the doctor. The last one which we identified is the touch point is the pharmacy distributor. So when the fitting doctor prescribes certain drugs and medications, a person again doesn't need to go anywhere, just go to the platform and find the pharmacy within the network and get the medicine delivered to his doorstep. So Ivan, can you go to the next slide, please? So now, in order to identify what are the login effects on the platform, first it's necessary to understand the reasons patients might prefer using PNN Good Doctor platform when seeking treatment rather than other ways of medical consultation or treatment. Second, it should be understood why patients might not be willing to switch to any alternative way of seeking medical treatment. And here we identified four main lock-in effects as we see them. First is the most important one, and it's basically time or money saving lock-in effects. You can see on the slide. So consider the situation when the condition of a patient is not very severe, and the patient basically needs to go only once to the hospitals and get all the health services at once, actually. Of course, the preliminary steps and post-treatment steps are made on the platform, but it's very convenient. It saves a lot of time and money as well. So therefore, so speaking of other lock-in effects, they're less important, but still network lock-in effect. Basically, the platform provides the opportunity of receiving a very high quality treatment due to great network of hospitals and doctors. So it's more than 50,000 doctors, different doctors, and about 2,000 hospitals. So therefore, the lock-in effect here might consist in that the patients would not be able to get the same quality of treatment if any alternative options were used. Next lock-in effect is what we call is associated with location, basically. So the platform provides a lot of convenience for patients who is not able or willing to travel far, and helps arranging the appointment in the hospital nearby. From this perspective, the lock-in effect might consist in that the patient would get an appointment in one of the nearest hospitals with available fitting doctor, which is also very important because the quality is not jeopardized here. And the last one, maybe of less importance, but still it's what we call a formalities lock-in effect. Again, patient doesn't care about the formalities, any formalities. He just focused on the treatments itself, and all of the rest are taken by the on-site advisor. So the above mentioned touch points and lock-in effects can be made exclusive with different forms of IP, and I now would like to give the floor to Ivan to proceed with this subject.
Thank you, Victor. And so now we want to identify the options to use the IP to protect these lock-in effects on the healthcare platform of Ping An. And we wouldn't be patent attorneys if we didn't start by recommending a whole series of patents, just like all of the other groups, which could relate, for example, to a business method of receiving medical treatment, including the steps within the customer journey. And as long as we work in some technical means to implement those methods, we should be good in terms of getting patents. We could also patent the method of finding a fitting doctor within a hospital network by collecting parameters from a patient. Another possibility would be a patent on AI-based diagnostics focusing on providing a diagnosis based on various sets of symptoms. And a final example would be a patent relating to technical aspects of the mobile application itself. Then let's not forget to think also about our brand. We want to make sure we file trademark applications for the word mark, as well as the logo for the right goods and service classes, and design applications on the graphical user phase that was already mentioned before. So the user interface in the app, and potentially also the logo. While not requiring registration, the user interface, the source code, and the underlying databases which are being created and used can also be protected by means of copyrights and database rights. And then again, as mentioned already before, there are, of course, also important bits of information which we would consider trade secret information, such as, for example, the underlying algorithms and anything that has to do with the IT security related aspects. Some additional examples of possible lock-in effects with focus on switching costs would be to patent and brand a loyalty program that rewards users for using the app regularly, or to patent and brand a referral program that incentivizes users, that invites their friends to join the platform. And finally, we could also patent features that will make it easier for doctors to use the platform, such as seamless integration with electronic health records, or the ability to communicate with patients via video call. And now we move to Hans to have a look at the final question.
On this slide, we describe the role of the PCT 2020-11975 application method for monitoring medical expense abnormalities in monitoring server and storage medium. The above mentioned patent application relates to a method identifying overpricing practices of a hospital or a doctor within the PHGD network and the elimination of this practice, supporting the customer journey and the value proposition as saving time, saving money, improving quality, and so on. Thank you.